Gilgeous-Alexander. McCollum staying with him. Spins, gets inside. Left-handed off the glass. Oh, what a sweet move.
Giddy, tough spot. Backdoor. What a pass. What a play. And J-Dub picks the pocket of Trae Young. He'll take it himself.
This is Lou Dart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Uncontested Wednesday show, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and DailyThunder.com. I'm your host for the night. Now on Wednesdays, JD Silva. Here with some fellas, including Jacob Niffen.
What's up?
And Taylor Peterson.
Happy Wednesday, friends. Closer and closer to the start of the regular season.
1 week away. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating if you have not done so already. Find us on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz. Okay, it is Wednesday. Season's in a week.
It's Wednesday, my dudes.
We're going to get into the Bucks game from yesterday. We're going to get into some news. We're going to get into a season preview like we did a year ago. It'll be a lot of fun. We have some housekeeping first. Jacob, there's a couple things coming up for us. Sound pretty exciting. What are they?
Yeah, so after tonight, we have a podcast Thursday night with yours truly, post-game pod, after the final preseason game against the Detroit Pistons up in Taylor's hometown of Tulsa. If you don't know what Tulsa backwards spells, you should write it down and figure it out. I will be on that post-game tomorrow night with you guys. Sunday, 9 p.m. Central Time, is the annual Uncontested Bets podcast. It's a classic every year. Speaking of, some guys need to pay off some bets. So they will get on that in the next few days. If you have any ideas for bet payoffs, make sure to DM us. We would love to hear them.
Ooh, so I have an idea speaking of that. So we have another special podcast coming up next week, which Jacob will get into. But that could be a good opportunity for you to pay off your charge bet.
That sounds like, yes.
I don't know if that's the best place to do it.
I like
Little
that,
There will be people around.
Speaking of, after Sunday's pod, we have a very special podcast scheduled for you guys. You will want to tune in Tuesday night, October, is that 24th, gentlemen?
Yes.
Tuesday, October 24th at about 6:45 p.m. Central Time, as us three gentlemen will be podcasting live from the Paycom floor. We will be on the hardwood at the OKC Thunder's arena doing a live podcast. Cannot freaking wait.
It's so sick.
It is going to be incredible. We're getting a behind-the-scenes tour of the arena. We're checking out the new arena food, the Jumbotron, the seats, all this cool stuff will be coming to you live from Paycom Center, from the floor, breaking down what we're looking forward to start the season and a whole lot of special content with what we're seeing from this special arena access. So make sure to tune in Tuesday night, 6:45 p.m. We'll be live for about half an hour. It's going to be freaking awesome. And then next Friday, about 9 days away from now, it's the official Uncontested watch party at Bar K in downtown Oklahoma City. Come hang out with us and watch the Oklahoma City Thunder take on the Cleveland Cavaliers at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Humans get in free. If you want to bring your dog along, $5 to get your dog in. You don't have to watch your dog. They have like trained dog watchers, like doggy daycare. Your dog can go have a good time. You can bring out the whole fam. There's going to be drink specials, full menu at the restaurant, lots of great food, 16 televisions with the game on it. You can come hang out with Silva, Taylor, Justin, and myself. We're going to have...
They're going to blast the audio out, too, of the game, they were telling us.
Yes.
And then outside,
Awesome.
I don't know, maybe during halftime or something, I think they're going to have a band playing, like all kinds of really cool stuff.
We will have uncontested stickers. We're going to have giveaways, including... Taylor, do you have it next to you?
Oh, I don't.
We
Still
have
in my car.
We have a signed Chet Holmgren photo that we'll be giving out that night as well.
I picked it up today. I
It's dope.
carried that thing back to my car like I was cradling my sweet little Brooks about a year about a year and a half ago when he was still very little. He's not very little anymore. It's crazy. But also within that box, it's not just the Chet photo. There's obviously that's the highlight, but there's some really cool stuff in there for us to be able to give out and give away. So
That's awesome.
Shout, yeah, very, very cool stuff.
Yep. So make sure to come by, hang out with us at Barcade. Bring the whole family, including the pup. Enjoy some food, some drinks, some Thunder basketballs. We will be podcasting live after that game, so that'll be really cool. You'll get to watch us live from Barcade. You see all the dogs in the background. It's going to be a fun time. So Tuesday, 6:45, tune into the live stream. Friday, if you live within like 150-mile radius, come out to Barcade. My Dallas folks come through. My Tulsa folks come through. We're going to have a blast. It's going to be a really fun time. So hope to see you guys there.
Guys, that's really exciting. What a hell of a way to start the 2023-2024 NBA basketball season.
Next week's going to be nuts. Oh, just everything going on over the next week. We got the preview tonight, bets on Sunday. Next week's going to be awesome.
Arena Pod, opening night Wednesday, the game and the watch party on Friday, home opener Sunday matinee against the Denver Nuggets.
It's nuts.
A lot of stuff coming up.
I'm dressing up as Beetlejuice for Halloween this weekend, and that'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to try not to look like a juggalo with the white face paint and black eyes.
I'm gonna buy you some Fago, my guy.
So we'll see how that goes.
We're going to need pictures of this, Mr. Silva.
Oh, you'll get it.
Yes.
You will get it.
I do not have a Halloween costume picked out yet.
Yeah.
Brooks is going to be a dinosaur, which fits him. I call him Brooks.
I need to podcast in a Halloween costume one of these days. I almost did it last year when I was Judge Judy, but maybe sometime. All right. We're going to get into it. I have one thing to ask both of you. It is a question of the day.
Uh-oh.
Anyone can answer.
Silva's becoming like a teacher.
Just want to ask.
You two are like the perfect 1-2 punch. I'm very much enjoying Sundays and Wednesdays.
Okay, I'm going to ask, and you may know, and I might look like an idiot. Who is the head coach of the Toronto Raptors?
Oh, it's homeboy that used to be in Oklahoma City. Darko Milicic.
Darko, yeah.
No, it's not Milicic. Is it Darko Milicic?
No. But you're right. It's Darko.
Rajokovic.
Royak.
Yeah,
yes.
you got closer than me. I saw that name, and I was like, who is that?
He was in Oklahoma City for a while, made a few stops.
Yeah.
And
Memphis.
then recently left Memphis, which, if you guys haven't read the Baxter Holmes piece on the Memphis Grizzlies and John Morant,
it's a lot.
It makes you appreciate the type of guys Oklahoma City has.
Yes.
Who would have thought that the worst influence for Ja would be his father once his father found fame? And from all accounts, from that piece, it seems like Ja's father was, pretty stable, level-headed, like good influence when he was growing
Everything
up.
kind of flipped for them.
When they found fame.
What was the nightclub called, Silva?
Shotgun Willies.
Shotgun Willies.
Woo, yee.
Nothing morally.
Hey, babe, you want to shotgun some Willies?
Reminds me of the local watering hole across the street from University of Tulsa that we would go to on Thursdays called the Buccaneer Bar. Oldest bar in Tulsa.
See, good things will probably happen at the Buccaneer Bar, but if you go into a place called Shotgun Willie's, what are you expecting necessarily?
Yeah,
also correct.
It's fair.
Okay, let's get into breaking down the game from yesterday. It was pretty fun. Milwaukee beat up a little bit, but the Thunder played a very competitive, fun game against them. We could break that down a little bit before we get into some news. You guys both watched the game. What were some standout performances, players from you?
I don't know about you guys, but I had a blast.
It was a fun game.
Did you have fun?
It was a fun. So a little bit of context. I did not get home till the end of the first quarter. I was at a work event and out in El Reno, so I was driving home right as the game tipped off. I would be absolutely lying to you if I told you that I wasn't streaming the game on the Thunder app while driving down I-35, because I was 100% doing that. So if you saw a car swerving back and forth after a Thunder basket, that was probably
not
me.
A drunk driver. That was Jacob watching the Thunder.
So I got home a little late to watch it, but every starter played at least 22 minutes. Guys, this team's going to be fun.
It's so hard to temper my excitement for what is happening. It's like it's just preseason. Oh my God.
I did not expect Chet to be as efficient offensively as he has been. Now, it'll probably tone down a bit whenever the regular season starts. But my God, man, like he opens the game on a pump fake, sends Robin Lopez flying, takes a dribble in and hits a little floater. Like, what are you, a 6'2" guard?
It's absurd.
The play of the game for me is probably, there's two plays of the game, but Shea just I forget who was dancing on, but he double crossover, drove the lane. Chet relocates from under the basket to the corner, and Shea just flicks this
perfection.
Pass out to a
wide
Chet
open
corner three and just splashes it.
Nice weapon to have.
That's disgusting.
Hey, hear me out. If Shea is calling himself the Black Steve Nash, I mean, Chet, the white KD.
My God.
Huh?
I like
Dude,
it.
you have Wemby dribbling through, nutmegging people. You got Chet doing what he did yesterday. It's absurd.
It really is. It was a ton of fun. Again, Chet just seems to fit so perfectly within the flow of the offense and defensively as well.
Yeah.
So much that we've talked about over the past year. Gosh, not quite year and a half, but it is. It's really exciting. He's fit it so well. The floor spacing that he provides, the lob threats that he provides. We saw him just have a ridiculous dunk where he cut baseline. I cannot remember now. I think it was Giddey. Giddey threw him a pass. I want to say it was in like the third quarter, and Chet was like behind the backboard. Like that's how far back he was on the baseline, and then just goes up effortlessly for a two-handed dunk over somebody. I can't remember what. Then you have, and again, this is another point getting deeper into the weeds here with Olivier Sarr, but Olivier Sarr and Chet playing the two-man game, and like Sarr flicks like a cross-court pass to an open Chet for three. I mean, it's just extremely exciting. And maybe that's one of my biggest overall themes. Like, regardless of who is plugged into this lineup, this Thunder team continues to play the right way. The biggest thing that stood out to me, curious your guys' thoughts, this team played fast. They're
very fast.
Transition. I've said this for like 2 years now. This team is at their best when they push the ball in transition, but I thought it was more than evident last night.
Yeah, they really push the ball in transition. It helps them be more efficient.
22 fast break points for the Thunder to 9 for the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt you,
And
Jacob,
I think the Thunder dominated the points in the paint as well.
That I do not have on the CBS app, but is on the ESPN app. So keep talking.
It felt like, so obviously Milwaukee was missing some guys, but it did feel like the Thunder were making them look kind of old and slow. And like, especially Dame, who had a really bad game. Really, they made him look bad. Chet blocked him on a step back fadeaway jumper, which
beautiful.
I've watched that 10 times.
Yeah. Actually watching it right now on the ESPN.
I can't believe it took us this long to mention it. Great point.
It's so sick. I don't know. Like, obviously Milwaukee is a much better team, but the Thunder have some depth.
Okay.
So Milwaukee took 52 3-pointers.
Yeah.
52. That's insane.
52.
The points in the paint was 56 to 26.
Yes. Sorry. I wasn't trying to interrupt you guys, but that's what I pulled that up while you were talking, Jacob, and I just was blown away.
56 to 26. That's insane. And when you look at the Thunder's efficiency last night, 56.5% from the field, 46% from three. And Shea had a bad game. 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 5 from three, 5 3-point attempts in 25 minutes is interesting. But Shea ends 10 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and a block. That's absurd. And then you just look at what Chet, Dub, and Giddey did. Chet 18, Dub 18, Giddey 19. Chet 3 rebounds, Dub 6, Giddey 7. And then the 3 of them combined for 11 assists. The Thunder starters had 16 assists amongst themselves. They just play a brand of basketball that's incredibly fun to watch. I thought Josh Giddey was like, they put Pat Connaughton on Giddey, and it's like he took it personally.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, I'm just going to lower my shoulder, bulldoze this guy, and get to the basket.
I love how aggressive Josh is whenever he has someone that he knows he can physically like impose himself over. He's not afraid of that at all.
And other teams are going to put their 4th best defender on him.
Yeah. And it could be a smaller guy oftentimes, which is awesome. I wanted to talk about any specific minutes allocations, lineups that caught your eye. One that caught my eye was we saw Trey Mann in the previous game. Was that Detroit, maybe, where he got like 35 minutes? Charlotte, that's what it was. He 10 total minutes yesterday. I don't know if I want to look that much into it, but obviously we've talked about Trey Mann kind of falling out of favor, it seems like, with this team. Anything else jump out to you guys?
If Trey Mann makes the roster, he's not getting minutes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And it'll be
There's just no time for him.
The Thunder and his representation will work on to try and find him a spot throughout the season. Same thing for Jack White. Did not get in until the very end. We saw Keontae Johnson and who's the other one? Davis Bertans, like a vet. Bertans being the vet, they were resting him, not playing him a lot, but he gets in towards the I guess what was that, late in the third quarter. They throw him and Keontae in there. I mean, they had a pretty set second unit, pretty set rotation there. It felt like up until the end of the game, to your point, Silva, when it kind of got a little bit out of hand, and then even then it took them a while to put in Trey Mann and Jack White. So those
they didn't have a lot of guys either.
Right. Yeah, right.
Cason Wallace was out. Poku was out. Kenrich Williams is out. Jay Will is out.
They played Lindy more minutes than
I think all those guys will play.
Lindy's another one. And then the other, to your question, Silva, like things that stood out in terms of rotation and minutes, Isaiah Joe, I think he was the first sub off the bench. If not, I would say he was the main sub off the bench last night. He had, if I can find it here, he's hidden down here, 14 minutes, which led, actually, it did not. Ousmane Dieng led all the second unit with 16 minutes. And
Dieng's been really good.
He has been really good.
Point.
I think he's going to play a lot of minutes this season.
Yeah,
I agree completely.
He's still learning. He's going to make mistakes. But I think defensively, he's been so much better. He's been so much more physical. He's just a natural playmaker.
Yes, that pass he had, like as soon as he came in the first quarter. Actually, I take that back. Yeah, the wraparound. Oos was the first sub off the bench. I take back what I said about Joe. And Oos comes in, has that he's driving in transition, has this wraparound pass around defender. I can't remember who it was, but then Josh comes up. And, Josh is right there, and Josh has a wide open layup. Yeah, it was just things like that that just really flashed.
Oos is a really high IQ player. The confidence is showing. The physicality is showing.
Confidence in his shot.
Yeah. Vasa, if nothing else translates, which I think it will, the passing freaking translates.
He can run the offense already.
The dude just dimes like insane.
It's nice having another guy like that.
Facilitator.
Yeah, the facilitator. It's I think we wanted, like last year, it's like, who's going to be the playmaker off the bench? Is it going to be Trey Mann? Is it going to be Jada? We didn't know for sure. I feel like now it's pretty defined. Obviously, guys are going to be staggered, but it's nice to have
no clue what the bench rotation looks like.
No,
if you told me it's
depth.
Vasa, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and Jay Will, I'd believe you.
We haven't mentioned Aaron Wiggins until just now, and I think he's really good, actually.
Yeah, he's really awesome.
So
if you told me that bench rotation is Ousmane Dieng, Alexei Pokushevsky, Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams, and Vasa, I'd believe you. And that's a completely different one besides Vasa. Vasa's the only similarity between those two lineups are Vasa and Isaiah Joe.
Right.
Like, there are going to be games where really good players don't play. They are a very deep team.
That's what I was going to mention, Jacob. Maybe I'll save this for later on the podcast when we do our preseason preview. But I do think that bench rotation changes on a game-to-game basis based off the matchup and based off the timing of the season as well in terms of development versus maybe trying to win. But just before we move on from Micic, one thing that I think is the biggest thing for him, 7 assists in 14 minutes. That is absurd.
He just dimes, dude.
Absurd. And I think the rest will come. We know that he can score the basketball, but he's still trying to adjust to pace of play. But the fact that he has that kind of, the IQ, to Jacob's point, the vision is translating already. And I think that was capitalized by the half-court alley-oop lob he threw to J-Dub there.
Dope.
I believe in the second quarter. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's just wild. And we haven't even that today.
We haven't even mentioned J-Dub's defense.
I haven't mentioned
Hi,
J-Dub that
J-Dub.
much in general.
Welcome
Like,
to preseason, where you're going to guard Victor Wembanyama, Isaiah Stewart, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and kind of hold your ground on all three.
he's beefed up. He's
taking an ass.
I thought Dub,
and he's been awesome.
We talked about Giddey. Giddey was fantastic, and again, just quickly, I thought he was much more aggressive. Thought he played really well within the flow of the offense. Got to the rim, although he didn't draw fouls, something to keep an eye on. But he did get to the rim. On the other side, J-Dub, I thought again, offensively, 18 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 of 10 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3, 4 or 5 from the free throw line. That's,
what
with Shea kind of taking a little more of a back seat, Dub was kind of the star of this team. And the same could be said about Chet, but
yeah, you think about our watch party night against Cleveland. Dub is going to guard Evan Mobley.
That's going to be such a fun game.
I can't wait.
But the flip side, Evan Mobley is going to guard Dub. And I think Dub will cook him off the dribble.
And Allen's going to be guarding Chet and vice versa. But
and Chet's going to bring Allen out into no man's land because Allen wants to stay next to the basket.
Good point.
You know what that sounds like? Freak time in Cream City.
Tying all of our podcasts together.
So also, just to eat my own words a little bit, it's preseason, but I was originally, my skepticism of Vasa was like, he's going to take minutes away from Cason. Why is he here? I can already see like he is just facilitates and conducts the offense in a way where I don't really see Cason that being his job right out of the gate. Like they can both exist at the same time. And it's other guys that would, like if Cason is awesome, it's going to be guys that I really like a maybe a Wiggins or someone in that range that could suffer minutes rather than just Mitchich and Cason against each other. So
can I bust out the crystal ball real quick and look into the future?
You actually can. Let me make sure I don't pick the dumb one here. There it is.
Beautiful.
Silva hosting and still pulling out the sounders on cue. It's incredible.
You think about what this roster looks like now. In 10 months, 9 months, they are replacing like a Trey Mann with probably a top 10 draft pick. If the Rockets don't like just hand us a top 10 pick, like they can trade up with their assets to get into the top 10 in this draft. And then the next year, you're replacing someone at the bottom. Like there's a reality where in like 3 years, this entire team is made up of like players taken 15 or higher in drafts.
Unreal.
Like, it's crazy.
It's like, it reminds me of what the NFL does where they get the most out of really young players when they're cheap. You know what I mean? It's saving in that sense. Like, oh, better succeed while all these guys are on rookie contracts, and the Thunder can just keep doing that for ever.
They're going to be rotating in high level rookies in 2029 because they can still cash in draft assets.
And this is how they afford this team moving forward with the new CBA.
It's the way
advantage of these picks.
I'm very convinced this is the way that Presti wants to build this team. I don't think the all-in trade for a star that everyone keeps talking about, I don't think it happens.
Agreed.
I think next summer in June of 2024, they trade a couple of firsts to move up to number 6. And then in 2025, they cash in the assets and they collect them together, maybe a player to move up to pick 8. And then in 2026, they do the same. And they just keep replenishing this roster with young talent and just keep the wheel turning.
Contracts, which is key.
It's like you don't have to pay. We all love the Isaiah Joes and Aaron Wiggins and that group of guys. But if you don't want to pay them however much they end up being worth a year, 10 mil, 15 mil a year, move them. Draft a guy that could probably
also high upside players. It's just kind of like what the Nuggets are doing, but on steroids.
The Nuggets are adding second rounders. The Thunder are going to be adding top 10 guys.
Lottery picks, which is absolutely absurd.
Yeah,
really quick. 3 quick hitters that I still have left from this game. I know we need to move on. I'm curious your guys' thoughts. Not to take over hosting duty. So
no.
Lou Dort had 22 minutes, which lead starters but is up there with what the Stars played, but 6 points on only 2 of 5 from the floor, only 5 shot attempts. my thought is that is exactly, I mean, that's a little low, maybe, but ultimately this is kind of what we were hoping to see from Dort with all these guys implemented and like Chet coming in, and then these other young guys like Dub, Giddey, etc., taking leaps. This is kind of the Dort we were hoping to see heading into the season. I think this is probably a good indication of what we can expect moving forward.
Agreed. Good defense. Very selective on offense.
And then Olivier Sarr, I thought he actually performed really well, being the essentially the quote unquote true big or the backup big coming off the bench. Had 7 points, 3 or 4 from the floor. It was not what I expected. Like, he has some good court vision. Like I mentioned, that two-man game that him and Chet played together as a two bigs, like they were spacing the floor. He has some great facilitating. I thought Sarr was really impressive.
Yeah, I thought he played good down the stretch last year too. I vividly remember a play in LA against the Clippers where he hit a cutting J-Dub baseline for a dunk. He's good. His brother's better.
Tons.
I'd like to get his brother here.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, he'd be perfect. And then Bertans, I mean, comes in, does his thing. Mark made a joke. I think it was today at practice where he's like, somebody asked him about Bertans. He was like, when he comes into the game, and Mark's like, yeah, he shoots. And then he started laughing. But Bertans shoots 6 points, 2 or 4 from the floor in 7 minutes. Like, that's just amazing. I continue to be really excited about what Bertans can bring to this team, although we'll keep an eye on the defensive end of the floor. Those are just my 3 quick hitters that I wanted to mention.
I think that's fair. I love it.
Yeah. Let us take a really quick break, and we're going to do a news roundup. Okay, we're back. Let's run through some news. Cason Wallace has a sprained big toe.
Hate it when that happens.
Hate when you sprain the big toe. I don't think that's going to be a long-term thing from what I've read.
I've done that. It is not fun at all.
We also have Kenrich Williams out with back spasms. There's not a timeline yet. From what I saw, Mark didn't seem like crazy concerned, but it's back spasms, which are
on Kenrich. Yeah, I would imagine he'll be ready to go for the season opener.
The biggest one to me, J. Will hamstring strain. We will not see him to start the season. He'll be reevaluated in a couple weeks. So reevaluated is a tricky word, especially with hamstrings. Could be a lot longer than that. Poku's still out. Biggs rotation going to be a little strange. That's probably why we saw Sarr yesterday.
I think you'll see Oos get some minutes there too.
Agreed.
I kind of think J. Will is just like the backup big man for this team when he's healthy, though.
Oh, 100%. Like, I thought J. Will had a fantastic preseason, summer league.
He's really good, dude.
It's really disappointing to see him get this injury in practice.
Hey, and people in the comments have been talking about it, like both positively and negatively. Poku is a really good center as far as like playing that backup role. People forget, like, he started at center a lot last year and was just like a great connector on offense, a bit of a rim protector. Like, I think Poku is gonna play a role on this team.
Have we heard anything about Poku's return?
No timetable.
Yeah, I would imagine second week of the season he'll be good to go.
And he's looked good out there. I think Daigneault had a quote today at practice saying that they're encouraged with his progression, and he's actually maybe a little ahead of schedule than what they expected, just based off the videos and stuff we've gotten from practice. I mean, he's out there running drills. Some of his shooting form has looked really well.
I keep thinking. I mean, even Sam Presti at his preseason press availability said, I don't think a lot of people foresaw that losing Poku for us was going to be that big of a deal last year. Like, they believe in him. I need that thin towers lineup. Like, I need air to breathe.
Agreed. But I also think too, like, just throwing Poku in as the backup big, like, you just, like I mentioned, you can maintain that same style of play. You take Chet out, you put Poku in.
Poku's a good passer. Like, he's a good connector.
Very much. The Poku nectar.
The Poku nectar, the facilitator.
Trademark.
I love it. Give me that sweet Poku nectar.
Oh my God. Final bit of news that we do not have to spend much time on. Yesterday, the Thunder also acquired 2 second-round picks from the Houston Rockets in exchange for Victor Oladipo and JRE, who we did not mention as a backup big anymore because he is gone. The Thunder, in return, took on the KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr. contract and waived him immediately. There's obviously a lot of Twitter discourse and feelings around that. I think the biggest takeaway is Presti operates in the structure that the NBA has created, plays by those rules. Houston could have waived KPJ. They did not. Presti used that to gain 2 draft picks, move off JRE and Oladipo. And, if you feel uncomfortable by it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. And that's kind of where I ended up on it. Same for you, Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the roster cutting.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get it. You are trying to maximize value. I totally get it. It's a transaction of a contract.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get it. Did I want the Thunder being tied to KPJ in any sort of way at all? No. Does that mean that I think Presti's a horrible GM and I'm no longer a fan of the team? Not at all. Not at all. Like,
yeah.
I get it. Just not a big fan of being tied to that guy in any sort of capacity at all.
Yeah, it's not some like horrific ethical dilemma. It's just like
they're not the Charlotte Hornets.
No, they're not.
They're not letting Miles Bridges still practice and play with the team, right?
No. Yeah, he's not on the team in any way.
He's never going to be photographed in a Thunder jersey. He's not coming to Oklahoma City. Like, none of that is happening. And good. And I wouldn't expect that. Just felt kind of dirty to take advantage of that situation based on what had happened. You wouldn't have gotten that opportunity if he wasn't a woman beater.
Yeah.
So just like, would I have preferred the Thunder not to do it because I don't really care about the second round picks that much? I just didn't want the publicity.
And we already have
care
so many
about
picks.
it or not. There's discourse about it,
mm-hmm.
and that's kind of what I wanted them to avoid. So that's kind of where I'm at. Love the team. Love Sam Presti. Not worried about it at all. Sean asked, did we feel the same about Myers Leonard? I did.
Yeah.
Like, it was a little weird. I didn't think about it for that long.
I think
the
reason
reason
this one hits even maybe a little more is just because it's the second time that he's capitalized off such a trade.
Yeah. And I get it. And I'm like, not like, oh, this is so horrible. And just not the biggest fan. That's it.
Right. And people can feel how they want to feel.
The Thunder have built up a ton of goodwill and they do things the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And so this can happen and you can know it's just part of the business and they're not going to be tied to this guy. And this doesn't say that they're okay with that. Totally get that. Just didn't really want them to be tied there at all. That's it.
And they were the ones to capitalize off the situation, to your point, Jacob. 2 really quick thoughts, and I promise they are actually really quick. Kind of to what Jacob just mentioned. Friend of the podcast, Warner West, I think he kind of encapsulated how I felt after the trade. So I just wanted to read this really quick. He said, on one hand, OKC has earned so much goodwill that situations like the KPJ and Myers Leonard situations can largely be ignored. On the other hand, it feels backhanded to preach choosing people over players and then also or drafting people over players and then also making these transactions, which I think is kind of how I felt a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
now, a lot of people have made this point, and I totally agree. If the Thunder would have brought in KPJ and said, let's hang on to the contract and see if we can flip it again down the line, or let's see how the legal proceedings take place.
That's a lot different.
I would have been very, very, very upset.
Correct. And then to
that's
that
not
point,
what they're doing. Right.
Kind of where I've found myself here at 24 plus hours later, the Rockets technically, per the CBA, per the league, were not able to actually waive KPJ until there was actually a verdict, until the NBA's investigation concluded, which obviously would have been related to a verdict happening, which won't happen for a while. Therefore, that is mainly why they were trying to find a trade for the team. So KPJ can't be waived by the Rockets. And so the Thunder step up and they're the ones to facilitate the trade, which allows him to then be waived because he's not still with the Rockets at that point, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like, I understand Presti doing it. It's like, okay, well, he can't be waived by you all. We're capitalizing off this trade. It's beneficial for both parties. And then KPJ is able to be waived and no longer on an NBA roster.
Will he be on another NBA roster in 2 years?
Unfortunately, Josh Primo is, even though they're very different situations, I don't want to
Miles Bridges
at all. Miles Bridges, right.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Would not be shocked because there is a likely scenario where a verdict I don't know, maybe there's a resolution before the verdict, and therefore he's not charged per se. And yeah, I could see it.
Someone will pick him up. My vote's the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, not a bad one. All right, we can now just wash that taste out of our mouths, take another quick break, and then preview the season.
During the break, go put in some eye drops, hit some mouthwash, come back nice and clean, and we'll run it back.
Take a shower.
Okay, we are back. I got a question. Can I play the Kawhi Around the Association music, which calls back to the NBA theme song as
Please
a celebration
do.
of this season? I
Let's
haven't heard
hear
it in a while. Okay.
I don't even know where you're sitting at.
We are
Wow.
so back.
It's been a while.
It's
Okay,
been a
wow.
while.
It's been a while. We're previewing the season. We are chiseling in stone things that we think will happen during this season, our opinions on this season. Everything that we say during this podcast will be held against us forever.
Take it to the bank. This podcast and the Sunday's Bets podcast.
Yes, but not last bet's podcast. No, I'm just kidding around. Get out
You
of that.
sons of guns need to pay off your bets. I'm so angry at all of you.
I know. Sean is too. He asked me about it in the comments the other day.
Good. Sean,
okay.
thank you for holding people
You are.
Let
accountable
him have it, Sean.
in this sissy society.
I know. The soft media, as you want to call it, Jake.
That was incredible.
Hey, for what it's worth, that guy and I had some good discourse, and
That's good.
I
That's
think we're water under the bridge.
Yeah.
Once
All
they
right.
tipped off last night, everybody forgot about all the bad stuff, and we
And-
just all
Yes, that's the biggest
fawned
thing.
over Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
biggest
7
thing.
days from now, we are officially back. We're back now, but we're more back in a week. So let's start. How many games will the Thunder win this season?
All of them. Next question.
Potentially all of them. Probably not all of them. Their over-under, I believe, is 44.5.
44.5. So are you just asking for wins, or are you asking for wins and placement in the West?
We're going to start with wins, and then we can
Okay.
kind of decide, unless you think it'd be easier to do both at the same time.
Let's combine them.
Okay.
So I pulled Bet MGM's
Nice. Okay,
over
cool.
unders
Great.
for the West. Here's the order. You guys ready?
Yes.
1, Denver, 52.5. 2, Phoenix, 51.5. 3, Golden State, 48.5. 4, Lakers, 47.5. 5, Clippers, 46.5. 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, so Dallas is 45.5. So I guess they're tied with Memphis. So that would be 7, 8, 9, and 10. Minnesota, Oklahoma City, New Orleans, Sacramento, all at 44.5. Then you have a massive drop off. Jazz at 35, Houston at 31, and then Spurs and Portland at 28.
That's where some of those wins are going to get redistributed, is that gap right there.
Mhm.
But I mean, it does just show you how competitive this Western Conference is, and just not even how competitive, but like how much of a crapshoot it can be.
The difference between 3 Golden State and 11 Sacramento is 4.5 games.
That's absurd.
Not 4.5. I'm sorry, just 4. 4 games. It's a massive, massive gap.
I could see that even being tighter when it comes to like the play-in playoff race, which is wild to think about.
Every team has questions. I look at, like, I think the Thunder are better than Utah, Houston, San Antonio, Portland. I think they could be better than Dallas. I think they could be better than Minnesota. Memphis missing Jaw for so long is such a big deal.
Unless you're
I'm
John
not as
Hollinger.
high on Memphis as everybody else is either.
John Holland just got him number 1 in the West.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yep.
I wonder
He-
why.
He's
Yeah.
a character, man.
He is.
He is a, what did he call us? Do you remember?
Which time?
No, was it? It wasn't Hollinger. It was somebody else called us some hacks. Was that it? Remember that?
Oh,
When we were
that was
ranking-
Nate Duncan and the
Yeah.
Oh, God.
attorneys who think they're smart
I
basketball
pull
GMs,
all
but
those
aren't.
people in the same
Yeah.
vicinity. Thunder's over under 44.5. I'm putting it on stone, chiseling it. So 5,000 years from now, in the
Ten Commandments
post-apocalyptic
style.
society, they will be able to dig it up and see it. Taylor, I am going 45 wins.
Oh my gosh, that dramatic pause too. 45 wins.
I was really
a lot of
debating saying
wins.
46. I want 45.
A lot of wins. Okay, so I
So I'm going over by half a game. I'm going 45.
I like it. I will say, with the national hype around this team, that over-under has gone up recently. And I'm just continuing to, trying not to buy into all the preseason hype. Because again, a lot of that is just noise to Sam Presti's points that he's made over and over and over.
ESPN had the Thunder at 3rd in the league.
But that is for
That's future.
2024, 2025, 2026, which
Oh, was it?
it's their future.
3 years
I'm,
from now.
I'm tripping. Never mind.
I have 43. I wanted to go 44. I'm going through the schedule. I'm just thinking of how tight this West is. I have 43 wins, which would, in my opinion, put them at about 6th in the West. My thoughts after this preseason, trying not to get too caught up in the excitement, but also like really believing in this team and the identity that this Thunder team has built and has established. Like, I would be disappointed if they're a playing team at this point. And so therefore I have them 6th seed in the West.
How many wins again?
43.
JD, you're up.
God, this is difficult. I think I may have missed whenever you said yours.
I went 45.
45, 43. Over unders 44.5.
Uh-huh.
Oh
Don't
my
you
God.
dare split the
I was
difference,
going
you
to
son of a
say,
bitch.
so is
can't.
about to go 44.
I can't. I really do think 45 is where I'm going to land
Okay.
on this one. I think they're just, I can't wrap
They
my
should
head
have won
around.
45 last year,
They should have.
but they crapped the bed down the stretch, and missing Kenrich and Shea hurt a lot.
It's a good point.
I cannot wrap my head around some of these teams in the West being better than OKC. Like a Dallas, I don't think is better than OKC. I really don't. I don't know if Minnesota is. New Orleans is already has health problems. They're gonna probably have health problems again. Then you have your Utahs and your Portlands and your Houstons, and I think OKC is just better than all those teams.
I think Golden State will be good, but that's a team of a lot of old guys who have a lot of injury history.
Correct. But also like Sacramento. And then you like, what about you were giving those over-unders, Jacob, for the Los Angeles teams? I mean,
Do Kawhi and PG play more than
Right.
20 games together?
we've seen the Los Angeles teams progress in the playoffs, but often as lower seeds in the West. And so it's just like, it is so hard to
The
predict.
Thunder are also one of the prime teams to get better as the season goes along because their guys will be getting more and more experience. Like Phoenix and Golden State and the Lakers and the Clippers. Like, to me, those teams are like static. They are what they are.
Correct.
Right? And that's what they're going to be this year. Barring health, that's who they are. You're not expecting Bradley Beal to make a leap, right? You're not expecting Steph Curry or Chris Paul to make a leap. But you can see Josh Giddey and J-Dub and Chet and Cason Wallace and Mitchich and Ousmane Dieng and all these other guys getting better as the season goes along, just like what J-Dub did last year. And if that trend continues, they are a team that can be way better in the second half of the season than they were in the first half. I think that raises their ceiling because they're going to grow as the season progresses.
I don't disagree at all. And continuity is so continuity is so important.
Yeah.
In this league of like all the constant change, like to your point, Jacob, like the biggest thing for the Suns is trying to gel and find chemistry. For the Thunder, it's continued development. And we'll get into this, I guess. Anyways, I agree with you completely. There is a world where the Thunder could be the 4th seed and hosting the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, so many of these older teams are just no longer ascending. Like the Clippers always have reliability and health problems. You know who they need? James Harden. Like that's who they're in talks with. It's like, well, I don't know. I'm just not convinced with a lot of these.
And the
things.
Thunder
Like,
do have so many means to improve this roster.
That's
even
another
if we
good
don't
point.
think they will do it.
Yeah.
As far as
could.
trajectory, I think the Thunder are like number one in trajectory. Like the Spurs would probably be 2.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Utah's number 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, it's hard to take the league by surprise 2 years in a row. I just think they're going to play really good defense. I think they share the ball really well. They got a superstar. They have a lot of guys who are just bigger, stronger, better. They get easy buckets. I mean, I tweeted last night. They cut more than a 13-year-old emo kid. Like, they'd get so many easy baskets.
My preference is to be taxidermied when I die.
You got to admit, my tweet last night was pretty good.
It was a fantastic tweet. And then you dropped a, what was that, Nickelback earlier here in the podcast?
Yeah, that's
Creed.
I felt dirty.
Creed, I think.
Hey,
I feel more dirty
our
about
guy
that than
Sean has
APJ
just
stuff.
been blowing up the chat, wanting us to get this out there. He said, mark it down that I said it and etch it. 50 burger. He wanted all of us to go with 50 wins. So
I would love
wins.
that.
However, Sean then continued and said, but it will be because Poku shines and is the star of this team. Thank you, Sean.
Oh my God. Okay, so
Sean did not
45.
say that.
45 for Jacob and I. Taylor 43. Nick's gonna be about 39, 40.
Yeah.
Justin would
Yeah.
probably be right around 43, 42 if I had to guess. Also, we'll get their official records at some point, but it's a lot of fun. I don't know if I said the seed that I predicted there.
I
What
didn't
did
either. I thought I said let's combine them, and then I didn't combine them.
I said 6th.
5th,
Yeah, fifth. Fifth sounds
4-5 matchup.
right. And they're all gonna be separated by 1 to 2 games, it feels like. But
So if we're like previewing the season, Silva and I got 5th. Taylor's got 6th. Who's the matchup, Silva, in the 4-5?
the 4-5, who would be
Oh,
there?
man.
It would be
Give me
so
Memphis.
cool if it was the Clippers.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
That would be so cool.
I think I might take Memphis too. Memphis would be a
Memphis is
fun
the
one.
first one. Grit and grind, the old Thunder Grizzly
Memphis
rivalries.
or Golden State for me.
Yeah.
All 3 of those options feel fantastic because there's a narrative that I can weave immediately with any of them.
100%.
Oh, that's great. It's like because Memphis and OKC were like on a very similar trajectory for a while, and now I don't know.
Playoffs are a long
Shotgun
ways
Willies
off.
happened, and-
Yeah.
I'm gonna make another prediction here as far as record is concerned.
Okay.
First 3 games of the season next week: Wednesday at Chicago,
Mhm.
Friday at Cleveland for the Bar K watch party. Sunday is the home opener, matinee 2:30 tip against the Denver Nuggets. I think ever since the Russ and PG trades, someone is going to have to fact check me. Someone in the chat fact check me on this. I don't think they've won a season opener since the Russ PG trades. That first year they played the Jazz season opener and they lost. I don't think they've won a season opener. I got them coming in to that Sunday, a week and a half from now, home opener game, undefeated, 2-0. And
I like it.
Paycom's going to be rocking.
Cannot wait.
I'm going to be rocking in
It
Paycom.
better be. Or we will be raising hell on this podcast and rallying
No.
the troops.
Sean corrected me. Good job, Sean. Shea had the game winner in Charlotte for the opening night, December
That was fun.
27th in the post-COVID season, which was just a terrible time to be a human.
So, but also was forecasting of what was to come for SGA.
Yes. Oh, I thought
And
you
the
were making
world.
a COVID joke there. And I was like, God damn.
Oh God. Okay. I guess the next thing we can talk about, who starts, and then there's 2 halves to this question. Who starts like next Wednesday, and who starts in general? So we can do with injuries now and without, I guess. But let's start with who starts with the current injuries.
Same
Next
answer, right?
Wednesday. I think
It's
it's
the start-
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
the-
same.
I don't think there's
starting
any
five.
shift. It's
No.
it's the starting 5.
No. Yeah, I totally agree. Do you foresee any changes this season in what that could be. I don't really either.
I don't
either. And gosh, of course, Bill Simmons. To be fair, he's so high on this team. He took
He's
the over on the over
too
under
high.
Reese did
Yeah.
on his part
Yeah.
one of his 3-part
Mm-hmm.
over under extravaganza. However, he was saying that he thought Lou may come off the bench towards the end of the season, but when it say who would start, I'm just like, you don't
You gotta
understand
say it.
this.
So let's run with that. If we get to March and everyone's healthy and Lou is playing off the bench, who has supplanted him?
I mean, the obvious answer, I won't take it. My answer is because you guys might. I'm going to go ahead and say it's Deuce.
That's what I was gonna say too.
I'll give you 2 options. Alexei Pokushevsky
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one too.
or someone they traded for at the deadline.
Okay. Yeah.
Give
I
me
almost said-
Poku.
Yeah. I almost said Cason, but I don't.
I
think-
know. See, that was the obvious answer. Sorry, not to. I keep interrupting you. So
No, it's fine.
I just like that. That's what I was getting at.
I don't think,
think
they
if they
take
can sl-
Lou out to get smaller, like to stay
Right.
small. It's to
Yeah,
get
I think
bigger,
if they take Lou out, everyone's sliding down a spot and they're sliding someone new in at the 4.
What about like? Okay, I can see this not happening until the playoffs. Like, say it's game 3, we're playing Memphis, and it's 1-1 tied. We're back in Paycom. Davis Bertans gets the start.
I would have to leave the game and go home because I have shit myself. In those nice new Paycom seats, there is just defecation.
like out of excitement or fear or
Disbelief.
okay.
all the above. Long answer short. Long answer short. I think we're all sticking with Lou Dort starting throughout
Let's
Yeah.
the entire season.
let's stay on the roster,
Mhm.
like lineup stuff. Who gets the most minutes off the bench? Like who plays the most games off the bench and gets the most minutes when the end of the season comes around? When we look
Ugh.
back.
I hate you for this
This
question.
is so difficult. It's probably going to be 4 dudes with between 16 and 18 minutes or something like that. It's going to be.
But who's going
I
to be number
know.
1?
I can't say it.
You know
It-
what?
Is it Micic?
It's Micic or it's Usman Jang for me.
You know what? I'm getting crazy. I
Do it.
am. I agree. Like those are the kind of those were the first 2 that came to my mind. But I think ultimately this player is so valuable for this team, especially if they're going to be competitive and try and really win games down the stretch of the regular season into the playoffs. Give me Isaiah Joe.
Oh, I like that too.
Nice. He's
That's
gotten
fun.
a lot better. He's really
But-
rounded out his game more than just a
Yes.
shooter.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, if Oos is that player, this team has really taken a leap, another leap, I think, if he is the leading player off the
Hey, if
leading
Oos,
minutes player off the bench.
if Oos makes that jump, the 2022 NBA draft for Sam Presti is an absolute all-timer. I think it becomes his number 1. I think it becomes his number 1 draft ever, even over the. Did he take Russ and Ibaka in the same year? Is that right?
Or was it Harden and Ibaka? I can't remember now.
Either
one
way.
of those two.
Regardless,
If
I was
Oos
going to
hit-
say
if
it's
Oos hits,
the
it
best
tops
draft
that.
of all
Yeah.
time, not just Presti.
Oh wow!
As
Giddy.
far as throughout the
sorry.
entire
No,
draft,
that was
yeah.
that was
Dub.
Chet, Oos, Dub, J. Will.
Chet, yeah, Oos, Dub, J. Will.
I mean,
It's absurd.
I
Can you
I don't
think of
know-
a
I
better
don't know-
draft?
I don't know if I would say all time.
Yeah, we have to do some digging.
20 years, maybe. I mean, the only other one that comes really close that comes to my mind immediately is the Doncic and Jalen Brunson draft.
I mean, it's like he
mean-
damn near drafted a full lineup in.
Yeah.
You
one
could say
go.
that Chet and Dub, if everything pans out, is better than Luka.
And that's the thing, if everything
Brunson.
pans out, right?
But
Like,
right,
we got to
exactly.
see.
Good point.
I mean, I'd maybe argue that drafting Jokic
This is such a
during a
hype
Taco
pod.
Bell commercial
I know.
is better than drafting those 4 guys. But
Fair
you know,
point.
This is fair. This is fair. Okay. I think that's it for lineups and things like that. Let's talk in broad terms. So last season, there was no Chet. It was just kind of let's see what all these guys can do. Let's see how high this team can get as far as their ceiling last year. What do you think the goal? And we kind of said there were no expectations last year. Just like do what you can. And it was a great season. It was the gravy season. What are the goals for this season? I know the front office and coaching staff has said there's no lower your expectations, lower them. We're not like guaranteeing the playoffs. But for us, what do we want to see from this season? This can be team-wide, individual goals.
So we're not worried about what the team says. This is our personal goals.
I think that would be a fun way to look at it because we know what the team's goals are, I think.
The team's pumping the brakes like crazy.
They are.
Okay. Playing a playoff series. I think that's the next logical step. You
not
sucked,
play in.
And then you made the play in. Now you are in a playoff series.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing at least 4, preferably more. Well, I don't know. If you can swap somebody, I'd be okay with that. You're playing in a playoff series this year. I don't think second round. I don't think conference finals, but playing in a playoff series, I think is the goal.
I like that. And I like that you went more specific, Jacob, because I went a little more bigger picture just based off of, again, to Silva's point, what we've heard from each of Presti and Daigneault. I think my biggest goal here, I'm kind of curious your guys' thoughts, but I think the big theme maybe of this season is balancing the development of players, not just the super young players or the new players like Cason Wallace, young players like Ousmane Dieng, but also the players that are still young and have already kind of established themselves like J-Dub, Giddey, etc. So balancing development with establishing winning habits. So that consists of like seeing where the team really is with this core before going all in and making some big drastic trade. Who emerges from this lineup? We've talked about Ousmane Dieng, even in the starting lineup, maybe Dub or maybe, Chet, like maybe these guys emerge within that starting lineup. Who really is the core, but also best rotations, like is a big thing. Who emerges from the bench and needs for this team short and long term, right? That's something that Press is going to be evaluating. Like once we see what this team really is at their peak and kind of the trajectory of all these players, how they play together, what are the needs for this team in the short term to maybe make a little trade to help them at the trade deadline? Or maybe it's more long-term, like pushing your chips to the middle of the table and getting that superstar player to play alongside some of these core guys. So anyways, that's kind of my overall theme, I think, and maybe the main goal for the season.
Mine is right there with yours, Taylor, which is you said find out what the needs are for this team. I think the way they will do that and can do that is through Chet. Like find out what can Chet handle from a role standpoint, from a minutes games played standpoint. Will his body hold up the whole season? How many games will he play? Will we keep hearing about, you need a bigger guy next to Chet so he doesn't have to get banged up as much? Just answer some of those questions, as many as you can in this season. And yeah, like you said, that will kind of illustrate needs moving forward. Not just Chet. I don't think we'll illustrate those things, but Chet will be a massive, massive one.
I think that's totally fair. To Taylor's point as well, as like figuring out what this team is and what they need. Thinking more about that, you mentioned like they could make a superstar trade. Remember this time last year where we were asking like, is Shea going to be like a number 2?
Right.
And if they would have made a trade then, assuming Shea was a number 2, you don't let Shea blossom into a first team All-NBA guy. So I just mildly off topic. I don't think the all-in trade is coming. I don't think it ever
completely.
is.
I was thinking more
right
so
now
like,
we say, yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. But like, I think right now everyone would say they need to get a bigger 4 to play next to Chet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What if you do that, but in 2 years, Ousmane Dieng is banging on the door of a max contract?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how Presley's evaluating this season. I more so meant like after the season's over, it's like, okay, then you're looking at more longer term needs and maybe then you start thinking about like, is there a trade where we would do such a thing? And to your point, Jacob, I don't really think there will be. Like, that's what's so exciting about this team. You have all these draft assets. You don't have to make that kind of trade because you could just have the team right here.
I think the trade comes in June. and it comes moving up that Houston pick from 8 to 4.
Bingo.
No, that's a prediction. I would love that. I have no idea. Do you have someone in mind?
I say go get one of the brothers.
Okay.
Get Sar's brother or get Dub's brother. I just think that'd be a dope story.
That'd be cool.
That would
That'd
be very
really cool.
Okay. To close out this episode, I thought it'd be fun to give some league-wide award picks.
Let's do it.
Some of those could involve Thunder players. You never know. First one, not directly related to the Thunder, but you never know. MVP.
We're just gonna quick fire these.
We can quick fire these round table. Yep. Let's go quick.
MVP, Jason Tatum.
That's what I have as well. So that's an easy one.
Yeah, I'll go Jason Tatum also.
God damn
Oh
it.
man.
Okay,
well,
give me
take
Giannis.
back.
Give me Giannis.
Okay.
I
Okay.
can see Jokic too.
I could too. Rookie of the year. I mean,
Chet Holmgren, baby.
There it is. There it is.
I would love that.
Wemby already has a narrative. If he stays healthy, it's Wemby. If not, I think it's Chet over Scoot. But
yeah,
if Wemby's healthy, it's Wemby.
Yeah, it's Wemby. I feel like it's
Cowards.
insane. I know. Okay, we got CPOY. Anybody remember what that stands for? Clutch player of the year.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, forgot that was an award.
God, that's difficult. Give
I
me.
know.
It is difficult.
Give
Give
me
me like
Steph.
Jimmy Butler. Ooh,
You going Jimmy? I'll go Steph.
was it,
All
wasn't
right.
it- I think it was De'Aaron Fox last year.
I'll be the homer on it. It was De'Aaron Fox last year. Look, I think Shea is going to have some incredibly clutch moments, especially with his team more competitive. He's going to find himself in more clutch time situations, which is defined by the last 5 minutes in either the fourth quarter or overtime. Give me SGA.
Oh, Booker's
I like
a good
it.
one from Meek Leak.
Booker's also a great one.
Coach of the year. Who's gonna say it?
I've got Joe Mazzulla. I think the Celtics are going to be fantastic. So I have Coach Joe.
Joe Mozzarella makes the deep dish. I'm gonna guess Mark Daigneault
Now we're
as
talking.
coach of the year.
Give me a coach we've already talked about. Darko Rajakovic.
Oh God.
Up in
Yeah.
Toronto.
Oh God.
Getting
Is he
He's
gonna
going to
crazy.
change the vibes.
That's a good
Interesting.
pick. Sixth man of the year. I have an insane one for this that I just thought of, and it's probably not the best guess, but
I still
Go
am
for it.
struggling
What
with
is it,
this one.
Silva?
it's Peyton Pritchard.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
I don't like that at all.
I bet you the city of Boston would love it for various reasons.
Gosh, like
You ready for some spaghetti?
yes.
Chris Paul.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
That's
fantastic.
nice.
Well done. I don't have one for this one. Although I make it up in a later actually, no, that's all you have on your list, correct, Silva?
I have a few more as far as these award
As
picks.
far as the yes.
I have a few more things.
Well, but in terms of like
The major.
individual players.
Yes. Yes.
So you missed most improved player.
Oh,
So
you're
since I
right.
didn't have sixth
Mhm.
man of the year, I have my most improved player that I've been thinking about for a long time. Give me Tyrese Maxey for most improved, since I
Oh.
don't have a sixth man.
That's good actually.
Yeah. Give me Devin Vassell for most improved.
Oh, it's a great one too.
Oh no. Who's it gonna be?
I want him on OKC so bad.
Silva's going to take the cum bucket.
No. No. What about he might be already too good. Anthony Edwards? Is he too good
Yeah.
already?
He might be.
What if he goes to like
Yeah.
all NBA?
I also think about Franz Wagner.
Oh, that's a really good one. God,
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are kind of my two. But
Yeah.
I'm going with Tyrese.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any OKC guys on all NBA or all rookie teams? I mean, we could see
I
Chet
think we'll
being
be
there.
aligned on this one.
All
Yeah.
NBA. Shea makes all NBA. One of the three.
Yes. Yes.
All rookie. There's two all rookie teams. They get two guys.
It's exactly what I have.
Chet and
I have, good point. For clarification.
The
I'm gonna go with Cason.
facilitator.
Okay, I'm going with Cason.
yeah, I'd probably go with Cason, but I don't know.
I'm kind of
It
thinking
would just be
Boston
weird to
doesn't
see
make it.
30-year-old man.
The
on the-
Keontae Johnson erasure is real in this podcast.
yeah. Okay, conference finalists. We'll start in the West. Who are your two conference finalists?
The Denver Nuggets. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Hard to bet against that.
I don't want to go the number 1 and number 2 seeds.
I know. Mine aren't very, very hot here. Mine are pretty standard.
Give me the Nuggets and give me
Sacramento Kings.
the
That'd be
Warriors.
The Warriors. Okay,
Oh.
that's pretty spicy. I like that.
Okay.
I had Nuggets
Um,
Suns. Like I said, I did
yeah.
not get very sexy on these.
I don't know if there's another really. I like the idea of the Lakers getting eliminated before they get to the conference finals again. So I think
I
I'm
know.
probably gonna go Suns. I'm gonna go Suns.
Nuggets Suns.
Yeah. Okay. And in the East, it's
Again,
gonna be hard
just
to
because
not.
mine aren't spicy. I mean, Celtics Bucks
Celtics
is what I'm
Bucks.
rooting for because that would be the most fun matchup possible. Like that's what I'm rooting for.
It would.
Give me Celtics Bucks in the second round.
Ooh,
Conference finals. The Boston Celtics versus
Sixers.
The
Do
Cavs.
it. Do it.
Bing Bong, baby.
Oh my God.
Oh,
New
the New
York
York Knicks. That is fun.
That
Well
would
done.
be
That was
very
very
exciting.
fun.
Goes against my Dolan conspiracies, but that is very exciting. Okay, who wins the title? I guess for me, it'd be Denver. I'd probably pick like Denver and Boston in the finals. The matchup we did not get last season because Boston blew it against the 8th seed Miami. Give me Boston in that matchup. Kristaps has overtaken Jaylen Brown as their second best player.
Ooh, okay. There's a little spice.
I'm going Denver repeat.
I also am thinking the Celtics. I think this
Okay.
is Tatum's
It's probably time.
Brown, Porzingis' year. I'm worried about that health and that depth, but
hmm
I think Celtics.
Well, we've done it. We have previewed.
Mama, we made it.
Mama, we made it. Mama, there goes that man.
I'm so glad he's not calling games anymore.
Do you see where Van Gundy is at now?
The Boston Celtics.
Yeah, that's weird.
Advisor.
Advisor. Anything else before we get out of here from you two?
I think as we end the show, just to reiterate once more, Tuesday, 6:45 p.m., tune into the live stream. We'll be podcasting from the Paycom Center floor on the hardwood. I might even make JD Silva take a three-point shot while we're out there. I don't know if they'll give us a
Yes.
basketball, but we'll ask. And then next Friday, Bar K, watch party. Come out, hang out with
Be
us. It's
there.
going to be a blast.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining us on this Wednesday episode of the Uncontested podcast. We'll see you at the next post game. We'll see you for our Sunday show, and we'll see you next Wednesday when this dang old season starts. Until then, adios and thunder up.